Yo guys, what is going on? Blossoms back. Welcome back to another episode of Sound Drives. Now before we get into today's meat and potatoes of today's video, I want to jump into the prize ladder and open a carbon fiber for you guys. Again, I wanted to open everything in a row for you, but we can't do that. We need to get the prizes so we can unlock the next challenge, yada 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 yada. So yeah, let's go for it. Another carbon fiber. I believe this is the last prize I need to redeem, and then I unlock all of the challenges, and then I can open like the last 4 prizes in a row. So yeah, there's still plenty to look forward to, I guess. Legendary, a couple epics here and there. Paragon tickets. Again, I got Paragon tickets since American Overdrive, and like they've done nothing to me. They've done none. We've never redeemed them once. All right, Peugeot 4008. I've used this like today, like this morning. Okay, what's next? A Audi A6. That ain't great. I did not record this one, by the way. I opened this over some dessert with Giselle, and Giselle pulled me one of the best possible cars. There were 2 cars I wanted from the 70 to 74, and she pulled me one of the 2, and yeah, it wasn't an Audi, so that was great. So I do believe that I have everything unlocked now. So I can complete everything else, and I can redeem everything at the end. But anyway, today's video is not about, Grand Tour trials or EGT or anything like that. Today's video is going to be about the Marilyn's Collection Carbon Fiber. A lot of you guys were asking about I was going to do a pack review on this pack. Well, I will be covering the entire of Marilyn's collection from Ultras and above. So let's get into that. So we're gonna begin now. Disclaimer: before we begin, as always, a special tag challenge is designed so every car is eligible. So every car can be used in at least one level, one of like the 200 challenge levels, maybe even more than that, that one car could be useful even once. So again, remember, I'm not judging these cars on how useful they are as Marilyn collection cars only. I'm going to be judging them in a general sense. Think about it in a general play, like how useful are these cars in events when you take away the special tag. That's the entire reason why the new lowest tag for the series is called requires a special tag challenge, because that's the only time the most useless of cars will get just that one, just one, minimum one race to be useful in. Okay, so as always, got highly versatile, requires some criteria, severely overrated, and requires a special tag challenge, which is also known as hot to garbage. So let's get into it. Again, one thing I like to say, I would like to stress out, is that I am blessed, I guess, to say that I own almost every single car here. I own almost every single Marilyn's collection car. So a lot of these cars I have personal, connections to, not really connections, but personal experiences with, right? I have used them, I've seen them succeed for some of them, I've seen some of them fail, all that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about my personal experiences as well. Obviously, my personal experience is coming from someone that has a more advanced garage and has almost every American, ultra rare in the game. Anyway, let's begin. Acura RSX, it's straight up highly versatile. Since the nerf of the Cadillac ELR, the fact that, that isn't standard tires anymore, the RSX stocks has shot all the way up, right? It has medium ground clearance, it has that 89 handling, highly versatile. Every time it's front wheel drive in clubs now and it's wet, that's the car to go for. So he is him. Congratulations. Right, okay, now moving on is the Acura TLX. Again, highly versatile. Those two are like the very definition. These 2 cars right here, very definition of wet clubs. And before anyone says, oh, Blossom, you can't just judge them over clubs. Well, first of all, I can, because these cars have won me millions. I'm not even joking, literally millions. Think about, the amount of years I've been playing the game, the amount of years these cars have been in the game, the amount of MVP finishes they've gotten me. That's 8,000 every single time, right? It's a lot of money. So, yeah, definitely millions. They're fantastic. And also on top of that, I remember there was like a ceramic pack event where I actually used like 3 TLXs. And that was fantastic. Actually, there's an event right now where I'm using the TLX. Well, to be fair, that is a Marilyn collection event. So yeah, you have to use it anyway. But yeah, these 2 cars are fantastic. This for the super twisty wet stuff. This for the hybrid, like the hairpins and your twisty circuits and all that kind of stuff. Moving on, Acura ZDX, I would say requires some criteria. 4-wheel drive and standard is great. Over 80 handling is great. But then again, it's in a general sense, it's competing up against like the Honda Legend, for example, which is way better. Or the BMW, I believe, is the 4 Series 420i, which is also like just miles ahead. The ZDX is a very heavy car. In terms of like American standard, yeah, it's pretty good. I believe it still trades blows with the Chrysler Glacier, but that's a prize car. Overall, I would say it requires some criteria, not the worst thing, not the best thing. The Buick Centiemi, I still don't know how to say that word. Severely overrated. I do not use it. I haven't fully upgraded, and the only time I've actually used it is if I needed a medium ground clearance American overdrive car that was of a low RQ, where I couldn't use any of those Cadillacs, for example. So then that was the only time I would use it, really. So severely overrated, I would say. Moving on to the Cadillac Era. The Cadillac Era is highly versatile. This is probably, I think a lot of people will agree, the best ultra that you can get from Marilyn's collection. I don't think there's anything better. A lot of American overdrive stuff in here, by the way. So if you missed out on a lot of cars in the previous update, this is a great chance to catch up. So the Cadillac Era is a great one. Fantastic slalom car, fantastic wet car, incredibly light, less than 500 kilograms, handles really well, and four-wheel drive. Which makes it very useful for the wet in many circumstances. Moving on is the Cadillac CTS-V. Now, one of the few ultra-American cars that I do not own, but it is medium ground clearance, it is AT7 handling, and I think it requires some criteria. It also is a saloon, and it's also 2000. So it's a chock full of niches, and you get to use it here and there. Nice photo as well. Moving on is the Cadillac Image. Now, the Cadillac Image is like the CTS-V, but a little worse. So I'm gonna put it in severely overrated. It's not fair, I guess. It's not really severely overrated. Let's call it overrated. Feels a little bit more fair that way. I'm gonna put it in just overrated. Now moving on is a Cadillac STS rear-wheel drive standard. And you ain't gonna use that much. I think it's overrated as well. For the most part, you know, it just doesn't bring the same amount of value as the Acuras and Clubs. The Acuras and Clubs, they're front runners. They are the best in their niche. But when you think about rear-wheel drive standard, they're epics to consider about. There are, you know, slalom, they're Caterham cars to consider about. Like in most twisty scenarios in a rear-wheel drive standard in Clubs, the Cadillac STS will lose to the Super Caterham. Just to keep it simple as that. So I'll put that in overrated. Moving on to Cadillac XT4, requires some criteria, mainly because it's pretty cheap to use for an Ultra, 55 RQ only, and it's 84 handling for an SUV, which is the highest number, or the second highest. I think the highest Ultra SUV all-surface four-wheel drive is 85, which is the Infinity, and then there are a couple that tie for 84 when you have it fully upgraded, the XC4 being one of them, and it's pretty cheap to use as well. So I would say it requires some criteria. It's a really useful car in the current multiplayer event going on right now, but then again, that also is a Marilyn's collection multiplayer event. Moving on is the Chevrolet Chevelle Slammer. It's versatile for sure. This car has been very useful in a couple events recently and on the multiplayer scene as well. It has a really low 0 to 60, and I remember I reviewed this car on Overrated or Overpowered when American Overdrive came out. And it isn't really a drag spec car, it's more of like a fast circuit hairpin kind of situation, like a 233, utilizing that kind of that hybrid performance and how it has a ridiculously low 0 to 60 for its RQ, but also like okay handling. It's versatile. Honestly, it's shocked me how useful it has been. It has been the best car in a couple multiplayer events, usually surrounding American Overdrive only though. Or Chevrolet events, but it has its time to shine for sure. The Corvette Stingray Racer, I want to really like this car, but I own this car, I have it drag spec, and I don't use it all that often. I don't think it's overrated, I think it's fine for a 51. Okay, maybe slightly overrated actually, because think about 51, I think Charger 3. And Charger 3 is just miles ahead. But then again, I don't think that this is a situation of the Corvette Stingray Racer being bad. I just think this being compared to the Charger 3 is just a situation of the Charger 3 just being highly versatile. So I'm going to put that in mid-tier. And moving on to Chevrolet SS. Now, we've had some time to let the Chevrolet SS sit and sizzle, right? At the beginning of American Overdrive, it was highly versatile. Whenever there was an American Overdrive event, this car was like the one to go for. It was like the best ultra rare. Now, we see American Overdrive less and less and less. Like American Overdrive events less and less and less and less. And you get to use this car less and less and less and less. So, do I still put it in versatile, or do I bump it down to require some criteria? A part of me feels like it should be in require some criteria, like mid-tier, but also a part of me feels like it's wrong that I'm putting the Slammer above. But look, I'm going off legit, like just personal experiences. I've seen this Chevelle Slammer get used a lot more than the SS. Like, in terms of longevity, at the start, yeah, the Chevelle SS, I saw it, people were using it in events all the time because it was American Overdrive events, here, there, left, right, and center. But the Chevelle Slammer, I think, has just stood the test of time a little better. Moving on is the Chrysler 300C Hemi. That's overrated. It's rear-wheel drive standard. Again, really useless niche. Chrysler Atlantic. The only time I use the Chrysler Atlantic is if it's Chrysler 5 times in clubs. That's it. And Chrysler 5 times in clubs is a lot less frequent than front-wheel drive 5 times in clubs. So for that, I'm gonna put it in maybe just slightly overrated, just ever so slightly, somewhere between the mid rank and the lower rank. We've got the Neon SRT4 next. Neon SRT4. You know what though? Of course, a special tag challenge. I do want to move. Should I move it? No, I don't think. Buick. I'm gonna move it down to require special tag challenge for sure. Neon SRT4. I'm gonna put it in that scenario as well. Front wheel drive. Yes. 89 handling. Yes, but especially with the inclusion of EGT, you got more, Renaults and Peugeots that are also front wheel drive that handle better than the Neon. I just think that, with every single update that introduces more front-wheel drive cars that are cheap in RQ and just better in handling, it just brings down the value of the Neon even more and more and more. Because the Neon isn't a dragster, let's be honest. So, requires a special tag challenge. Nitro, special tag challenge. Neon SRT4. Dude, I remember when this car used to be really good, but now it's just overrated. The Ford Explorer is overrated now as well. It used to be the best ultra rare for Ocean Beach Slalom Wet. But then, American Overdrive came around. It was a Cadillac Escalade IQ. And then now EGT came around, and it's something else. I forget what it was. I think it's that RQ64 Audi, if I remember correctly. My memory fails me here, but there is a better version for the Ocean Beach Slalom above the Cadillac Escalade IQ now. I do believe it should be that Audi, but because of that, it basically takes out that one-trick pony tag that the Ford Explorer used to have, bringing it down to overrated. The GMC Sierra, I would say, requires some criteria. If you need a ultra dragster from American Overdrive, that's a great car to use. A great car for hill climb as well for American off-road, but not the best, so I think it's just mid-tier. GMC Sierra, that's requires special tag, all surface as well. Sierra at 2500 is overrated. Doesn't handle very well. The GMC Terrain, I mean, it's 74 handling's not too bad, but it's overrated. I mean, I'd take my money on the Cadillac XT4, just being a better bargain. And then we have the GMC Terrain Denali, again, overrated. We've got the Yukon XL Denali, that's requires a special tag challenge. Again, it's not a dragster, it doesn't handle as well as other GMCs. Yeah, it's not great, ridiculously heavy too. Hummer H3T, special tag challenge. Lincoln Corsair. Let's talk about all the Lincolns together. I mean, they're all already together. I just think they're all overrated slightly. Their only time that they will be useful is in a Lincoln event. There's not even Lincoln 5 times in clubs, so overrated. Moving on is the Pontiac GTO. I would say requires some criteria. Muscle car, medium ground clearance, handles pretty well. Pontiac 5 times clubs. And overall, it is just a better ultra, because I would say that Pontiac 5 times clubs comes up as frequent as Chrysler 5 times, which is not that frequent. But overall, the Pontiac GTO is the better car. It carries the muscle car tag. It's medium ground clearance. All things that the Chrysler Atlantic doesn't cover. So I'm going to put the Pontiac a tier above. Hope you understand. Now, Ram 1500 Rebel OTG. The handling is just way too bad in that car. It's 4-wheel drive, it's off-road, I get it. But there's so many 4-wheel drive off-roaders in American Overdrive already. You've got the Sierra, which handles worse. But it's got a way better 0 to 60, and I believe it's slightly lighter. This thing is ridiculously heavy, the OTG. And then you've got the GMC Sierra. Then you got the Ram Backcountry. That's the one that you want as well, right? Now moving on to Satin V. Oh, that's required special tag. Acura RDX. Oh, Buick Wildcat EV. I would say requires some criteria. It's a good Jerry. It is a good Jerry for sure. MRA is great. 0 to 60 is meh. The handling is okay, and it's 4-wheel drive. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent Jerry. Requires some criteria. Then we've got the CT4 Blackwing. That's highly versatile for sure. And then we've got the Borrego. I think is highly versatile. Okay, versatile. In a general sense, it's not the best 4-wheel drive off-roader, right? But it is the best off-road, just off-road general, right, for American Overdrive. High ground clearance off-road is great. Pickup, it's great. I believe it's a pickup, right? It's a concept, I believe, as well. So chock full of tags, 2000s, versatile. And honestly, owners can't disagree. This thing has won you a Bugatti Divo if you had it. So congratulations to you. The only reason why I don't have the Bugatti Divo in my garage is because I didn't have the Borrego at the right time. I own it now, but it's a little bit too late. Camaro SSX, I'm going to say versatile because, look, at the start, I thought it was going to be a mid-tier, American overdrive car that wasn't going to mean much. But tell you what, man. It's a great muscle car. It's great for muscle car events because it handles really well. A really great handling muscle car. If you do not own the ZL11LE, the SSX is one of your best options. I remember getting a tier 1 finish in the Summer Games Endurance Challenge for the Zenvo, and the Camaro SSX played a massive part in that. So definitely versatile. It's great in American overdrive events, great in muscle car events, great in Chevy events. I'll take it, man. It's great. Moving on, because the Camaro ZL1 1LE convertible, I don't think it's overrated. It just requires, but I don't think it requires some criteria either. I'm gonna put slightly overrated. Corvette Stingray, I would say, requires some criteria. The Corvette Stingray convertible, I'm gonna say versatile. Great on the hairpin, great on the karting. Basically, think about the Blossom Choice. If Blossom Choice was updated, think about the blue C8 convertible, the blue C8 Corvette Stingray C8. You know how that car is just a ridiculous epic. Well, this is the convertible version. It's like the little brother. It's a little worse, but still really good. It hits above its weight in terms of like verbal drive performance epic roadsters on things like hairpin and karting and twisty circuit. So I would say that it is versatile. Not as good as the blue older brother, but still a really good car nonetheless. We've got the Cruise Touring car. That's great too. It's the best front wheel drive American car. There you go. So it's king of the niche there. Overall, in a general sense, against other front wheel drive cars in the game that are epic, not the greatest, but still good. It's respectable. I would definitely give it the versatile category. Challenger 1320, again, versatile. Only reason why I'm not going to put it in highly versatile is because, at the end of the day, if you can use a better dragster, a better epic dragster like RQ77 or 76, like the Superstock, I think it's 75 even, you would go for that. But if you had to save some RQ, and it could only use, maybe up to like an RQ70, I want to say 70 epic, Challenger will be the best option to use. Fantastic car. Especially for quarter mile and half mile. 1 mile, there might be better options like the I want to say Bristol, maybe, or maybe even the, not the Isma, I don't think the Isma, but definitely the Bristol. But the Challenger 1320, fantastic car. Then we've got, there you go, better drag option, right? You got the Charger Hellcat. So the Red Eye, that's definitely highly versatile. That thing is fantastic. It's won many of us many prize cars already. We've got the Viper SRT10, I think requires some criteria. Again, it's a very mid-range American epic that has great MRA and great handling. But again, it's just, of its RQ. It's a very mid-range, very RQ71-esque car, so requires some criteria. We've got the Bronco Raptor, overrated. And then we've got the Ford Explorer ST, which I'm going to say requires a special tag challenge. We've got the Lincoln Continental Coupe, overrated. For sure, overrated. I own a chock full of 4-wheel drive Centaur cars in my garage, a lot of being saloons. I also own the Lincoln Continental Concept, and I've just never needed to upgrade it at all. Alright, moving on to Legends. We've got the Cadillac CTS-V Coupe race car. I'm going to put that in versatile. It's great for American overdrive events, and it's great for Cadillac events. Especially if there's a Cadillac event, it's probably one of the best. But outside of that, it's not the greatest, right? In terms of like just general legendaries, or even American legendaries nowadays, it's up there, but there are better options to use. Moving on is the Cadillac CTS-V sedan race car. I'm going to put these two together. Although the Coupe is the better car, the CTS-V has that saloon tag. And there have been multiple events where we've only seen that we could only use saloons, and that Cadillac CTS-V definitely has its time to shine. So I'm going to put that in versatile as well. We've got the Corvette Z06, which I'm going to put in the same tier. All these Corvettes, they're kind of hairpin specialists, within their RQ, and they can hit above their weight by 1-2 RQ as well. So I would say it's versatile. Moving on is the Hennessy Venom GT, which is highly versatile, great little dragster. Resvani Beast, I don't own the Resvani Beast. I don't see this car used that often. I'm not afraid of it when I race up against it. I've seen this car fully upgraded. I've gone up against it a couple of times. I think it requires some criteria to be completely honest with you. I'm not afraid when I see this car. The Salines, I'm gonna put both Salines and requires some criteria as well. I don't think that they are the greatest thing in the world. They're not terrible legendaries. I know that some people might say that the Saline S7 is a terrible legendary, but we've actually reviewed this car a long time ago and we figured out that there were actually a lot worse 82s out there. So overall, this is my final verdict. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my Marilyn's Collections carbon fiber review. Not the best pack. A lot of filler. I mean, there are some good cars to get, like the Borrego, like the Charger, but again, you know, and the Challengers and the Hennessy's, but again, the cons outweighs the pros in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below if you're gonna open this pack or not. I don't think it's really that worth it unless you are a brand new player, you have a passion for American cars, and you want to expand your American collection, then yes, then this would be a great pack for you to open. But if you're not an American collector in Top Drives, there are better packs to open to get you maybe some of the top cars here. For example, a Dodge Carbon Fiber will probably give you better odds to get this Charger, or maybe a Saloon American Overdrive Carbon Fiber, if that ever comes out again, will give you better odds. But yeah, overall, this is my verdict of the pack. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree. Hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and bless you all. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy. Me too. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nippy, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jetbox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nippy, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jetbox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies. They so fine. Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac, hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville Atlantic, blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look, swing it side to side as we slow down to the night, when I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out just for a ride. Wish our milkshakes